Astros swing where they win 8-1. Can they continue their winning ways? They host the Mariners, looking for their 7th consecutive win. Astros baseball on Root Sports starts right now.
From Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Root Sports brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the Astros return to open a two-team homestand. It's the first of 3 between the Astros and the Seattle Mariners. Good evening, everybody. The Astros happy to be back after that lengthy road trip. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Julia Morales, and 2 of the 3 of us traveling back on a lengthy trip, but a very good trip, Ash. You know, you were a Beach Boys fan, right, at one point?
Absolutely.
You remember the old standard, catch a wave and you're sitting on top of the world?
Somebody's been catching a wave. I think it's the entire ball club right now, Brownie. And, yeah, that was a pretty catchy tune at one time. Pretty catchy feeling for the club right now.
Well, an 8-1 road trip. That's the best in club history for a 9-game trip, and the numbers are staggering.
And the West Coast oftentimes can be really tough for anybody that goes out there. But 8-1, 2 out of 3 in Seattle, and then sweeping in Oakland and down in San Diego. A couple of good ball clubs scoring a ton of runs along the way. 7.3 per game, the batting average sky high along with the slugging. And they've been running the bases like crazy. You add that to the home runs that have been hit and the way they played defense and pitched, you're going to win some ball games.
They have put on a show, included among them Jose Altuve, George Springer. They have plenty of company, but let's take a look at those 2.
Well, and Jose Altuve, oh my goodness, did he ever open up the barrage on the West Coast, hitting the ball all over the ballpark, including some out of the ballpark. Jose Altuve alerted a lot of people that he's back on the move to maybe win another batting title this year, and driving balls over the head of center fielders in the process. He had to impress just a whole bunch of people. He's well ahead, by the way, of his numbers last year as he did win the batting title. George Springer showed some moments of that great power once again, as well as the running game. Springer, Altuve, and others now, along with Marisnick, have the Astros atop the base-stealing charts in the American League. Springer is opening up that power game. That line drive in Oakland was very impressive. This bunch can do a lot of things when they're playing the game right that maybe other teams can't do, and you can understand why they're 14-7 and enjoying themselves at the moment.
Now our Jack in the Box Inside the Box score showing you Jose Altuve on the road trip with 5 doubles, George Springer with 4. They both went deep. 11 runs batted in for Altuve with 8 for Springer, and they were big in the steal department and runs scored as well. That's Jack in the Box Inside the Box score. Coming up next, another Astros having a season to remember. Julia sits down with Jake Marisnick next.
But successful road trip going 8-1. They've won 10 out of their last 11, and a few of those games have been helped out by the bat of Jake Marisnick. He joins me now. This is before first pitch. Jake, starting with just your offense, what has helped you be consistent on offense so far this year?
I mean, a lot of it has to do with the guys in the clubhouse. Everybody's keeping it loose. So, I mean, when it's loose and you're having fun, it's a lot easier to play. And I mean, that's a big part of it, is just keeping everything loose.
8 stolen bases for you as well. You guys are aggressive on the base pass. What has helped you guys stick to that plan, and how has that helped y'all win so many games?
I mean, it kind of goes back to the same thing, just a little competition, and everybody's kind of pushing each other. And when you put that pressure on the other team, they're throwing the balls around and help us score runs. So.
You're up there with Jose Altuve. You're saying it's a competition. You're going to stick with him all year and stay around the total bases that he has?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we've been joking about it, but definitely that's not a bad guy to be competing with. So.
What a great road trip for you guys. What did you learn about this team on that trip?
I mean, we just got guys that want to win. We got guys to go out and find a way. And I mean, we had a couple of tough games there, and we were able to kind of pull away. And I mean, just the way we were able to finish the ball game was awesome.
It's fun to watch Jake Marisnick on this road trip. Even playing through, he's banged up a little bit there for a while. Don't go anywhere. First pitch is around the break. Scott Feldman on the mound for the Houston Astros. We'll be right back.
Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. It's an absolutely gorgeous night here at Minute Maid Park. It's been spectacular all day. Low humidity, great temperature. And these two teams are ready to start this 4-game series. And after this one, the Rangers come in for 3 here at Minute Maid Park against the Astros. Scott Feldman warming up to face this Seattle lineup for a club with 10 wins, 11 losses, coming off a 3-game sweep at Arlington, Texas, of the Rangers. Right fielder Seth Smith will lead it off for Seattle. Smith will be followed by Austin Jackson in center field. The number 3 hitter is second baseman Robinson Cano. The cleanup man is a man with 10 home runs, Nelson Cruz, the DH. It's Kyle Seager at third base. Logan Morrison at first. He had the big game last night with 4 hits and gave Seattle the lead with one of his hits. Brad Miller, the shortstop. Dustin Ackley in left field. Mike Zunino, the catcher.
On the mound for the Houston Astros tonight, the veteran right-hander Scott Feldman. Scott's got quite a career going against the Seattle Mariners. A lot of numbers. 27 games appeared in, 13 starts tonight. Number 14, 5-6 over that span. ERA at about 4.3. So A lot of history between these two ball clubs. 2-2 on the season in 4 starts, 4.81 the ERA, and he would like to tighten that up a little bit now with tonight's start.
He does have a lot of work against them. However, he didn't face them all last year. Made 29 major league starts without one coming against the Mariners. So it's his first outing against this Seattle club since August 3rd of 2013. And that youngster being weaned on Astros baseball hopes that this club can bring back that 6-game winning streak from the road and start one here at home, where the Astros are 4-5 this season. Infield shifts around as Seth Smith is prepared to bat. And the lefty pole hitter comes up with a .268 batting average. Buena is in on the edge of the grass at third base. That pitch is strike one. Vic Carapazza rings it up. Smith with 1 homer, 6 runs batted in, has a .347 on base average. And it's foul back. No balls, 2 strikes for Feldman, who has squared his record at 2-2, losing the first 2 and then winning the last 2 times out, here against the Angels and on the road against Oakland. He's had 3 quality starts in his 4 outings. The Astros continue to pitch very well with the best ERA in the American League, 3.11. Feldman bounces the curve, 1-2, and if form follows for Scott Feldman, that curve will be a pitch we'll see a lot tonight, Ash.
And Bronny, it's been both sides, starting pitching and relief pitching, outstanding for the club to this point.
Feldman, one of those guys who's been extremely strong in the first 3 innings of his start so far. And Smith backs away. According to Pitch FX, Feldman has thrown the highest percentage of curveballs in the American League, 23%. That's a little cutter, and it's dribbled into left field. Well, Smith on a pitch up and in just got enough of the bat on that ball to sneak it into left field for a leadoff opposite field hit.
And he just took the longest jog down to first base in the American League this year on a base hit. I don't know if we'll get any peek at it, but with that shift on, your basic freebie, and he jogged it out as much as possible.
He's aboard with a bleeder, and it's Austin Jackson to follow. Jackson at .229 has 2 homers. He's driven in 4. Altuve playing a double play depth up the middle. And that's cranked out of play. Strike 1 on the former Detroit Tigers center fielder.
You know, you mentioned with Feldman a lot of curveballs. When you don't have the best fastball in the league, you do something else to have success. And to me, it's just a crafty guy on the mound that has learned his trade very well and knows how to best succeed with what he has.
61 major league wins for Scott Feldman. That's in for a strike. 0-2.
Starting to see a lot more of that low and high pitch called strikes around the major leagues this year. Umpires are getting reviews every day, with whether it be behind the plate or any base they happen to be on, every play that they make a call on.
That was an interesting conversation with you and Jeff Blum on that topic yesterday. A little roller goes foul, and Jeff had the opportunity to speak with the umpiring crew in San Diego. They told him about that constant review process, which is quite different than when you played, Ash.
Well, it's very different. I think it's a very good thing. Look, everybody has to do their job well, or they have to be accountable for it. And I think for a long time, umpires fell outside of those parameters.
That's off the mitt of Castro, and it goes back, which allows Smith to advance to second base. And it's a 1-2 count now. That pitch went way up the ladder for Jason Castro.
Not only was it nowhere near where Jason was set up, but the way Jason went after it, I'm wondering if we maybe didn't get a glimpse of one of the cross-ups that we've seen so much the last couple of years. You can see Jason going up after it, but boy, that's really hitting the ball late.
Feldman tapped his chest, taking responsibility. So maybe there was a cross-up. Now 1-2 on Jackson with Cano on deck. And the curve is tapped in the hole. Long throw for Marwin and safe at first. An infield hit for Jackson. Well, that was a fine effort, but Jackson beat it, and it's first and second, nobody out.
So he got a little fister jam shot with a shift on for a base hit, and now this ground ball slowly hit to the hole. Fine effort by Marwin, but not enough, and first two hitters reached now for Seattle. And they are a hot ball club, just not for the same length of time as the Astros.
True. They're on a 3-city road trip of 10 games, having won the first 3 in Arlington. And now it's Robinson Cano. Cano with a .244 start, including 1 homer, 6 runs batted in, has 8 doubles. And against the Astros in Seattle on their recently completed road trip, he was 4 for 12 and drove in a couple. That's strike 1 to Robinson Cano. His father Jose pitched briefly for the Houston Astros. He did not pitch briefly, though, when he threw to Robinson Cano in Home Run Derby. He was out there a long time, and Robbie belted a whole lot of balls in the seats.
He's easy to pick up, is what I hear, and doesn't have a whole lot of stuff to throw by the bats of major league hitters.
Grounded left side, tough play here. Marwin diving, knocks it down, and the bases will be loaded. On 3 ground ball hits, bases loaded, nobody out for a hot home run hitter, Nelson Cruz.
That's such a gifted hitter, Robinson Cano, and you look at him go after this pitch away, just putting it on the ground on the left side. There was a semi shift on, and he takes full advantage. Boy, it's been an unfortunate first inning to this point for Scott Feldman.
And now he's facing a man who's tied for the home run lead in the American League with Hanley Ramirez with 10. 22 runs batted in for Cruz. He had a tape measure shot last night. .381 his batting average with men in scoring position. And a ground ball. As the run scores, it goes to Altuve from Marwin, and then to Carter. Double play, making it 1-0. So Cruz will not get the run batted in. And Kyle Seager will bat with Jackson at third base and 2 outs now.
Well, that's just about the best thing that Scott Feldman could have hoped for. Maybe the first out where nobody moves up and then get the double play, but you're not going to argue about this opportunity.
That is a tough start for Feldman. Now Kyle Seager with 3 infielders between first and second base for him. Carries a .267 average into this at bat. 2 homers, 11 runs batted in for Seager. There's strike 1 to Seager. Just one of the outstanding young players in the American League, and there are many. Well, this is a league just filled with talent right now. Seager is 27. He was an all-star last year, hitting 25 homers, driving in 96 runs, and winning a Gold Glove. He looks at ball 1. He is 4 for 9 in his career against Feldman. The Seattle club ranking 12th in the American League in runs scored with 77. Has not yet hit its stride offensively. Off the plate for a ball that makes it 2-1, but playing well here at Minute Maid Park. The Mariners are 13-6 here since they moved to be division foes of the Astros when interleague play ended for Houston versus the American League, and they became the American League West contestant. That's in for a strike. It's 2-2 with Morrison on deck. Mariners 10-11 overall, tied for second place.
Scott Feldman works the ball both corners, moving both directions so well, and this one maybe a portion of the baseball catching the outside edge.
That's line to left field and in for a hit to make it 2-0 Seattle. Seager with an RBI single, driving in his 12th. Jackson scoring to make it 2-0 on the 4th hit of the inning.
A lot of work away on the left-hand hitters here in the inning, and they are going the other way. And meanwhile, the shift has been on for the club. Had no impact on this play.
Now Logan Morrison bats. Morrison with a 194 average has a homer. He's driven in 4, and Seager's the runner at first. Formerly with the Marlins, who drafted him in 05. Logan's 27. Morrison had a big 4 for 5 game, driving in 2 at Texas last night. Feldman had thrown first pitch strikes to all of the first 5. Falling behind here. He has been getting more ground balls from left-handed hitters this year than in the past, but that has not worked out in this inning. There's some tough luck for him with where the ground balls have gone. 1-1.
Well, the debate probably will go on for a long time about if you're going to put shifts on, do you need to pitch accordingly, or can you continue to pitch in these cases away and enable the hitters to go that way? It depends, I guess, in good part about the hitters.
Brad Miller's on deck. That's a fly ball out to left. Robbie Grossman taking care of the 3rd out. 2-run scoring on 4 hits with a man left for the Mariners. Seattle 2, Houston coming up. The starting lineup for A.J. Hinch with a 14-7 record to open the season, a 4-game lead in the AL West. Here's the way it looks for the Astros, who have won 6 in a row. Jose Altuve on an 8-game hitting streak at second base. Luis Valbuena at third, George Springer in right field, Evan Gattis the DH, Chris Carter at first base, Jason Castro the catcher, Jake Marisnick in center field. He's put together a 7-game streak. Marwin Gonzalez the shortstop, Robbie Grossman the left fielder.
On the mound for Seattle, they've got the young left-hander, James Paxton. He's a big guy, 6'4", 235. He's already made 4 starts this year, and he's been roughed up a bit. 0-2, that ERA up over 6.5. First career appearance against the Astros.
Jose Altuve on his 8-game hitting streak has just been on a rampage. 7 straight multi-hit games. And that ties his own career high. There's strike 1. The Astros club record for consecutive multi-hit games is 9, set by Jesus Alou in 69, tied by Billy Hatcher in 87. That's out toward right center field, coming in for Jackson, and it drops in between Jackson and Seth Smith. So Altuve puts it between them and winds up at first base. Says there's hesitation. It's ruled a single for Altuve.
There was a song some number of years ago, "When You Hot, You Hot." And I would have to say Altuve fits in that category. You hit that little fly ball that should be caught, but when it comes off the hot hitter's bat, the center fielder backs away.
Strange. Altuve on a 9-game streak. Reaches for Valbuena now. And draws a throw from Paxton. Now Altuve is one of a trio of Astros players who are tied for the AL lead in steals with 8. He has 8 in 10 tries. Jake Marisnick has 8 in 9 tries. George Springer has 8 in 9 tries. Foul back, strike one. So the Astros have 28 steals in 33 attempts. But there are 7 major league teams with fewer than 8 stolen bases. And the Astros have 3 players with 8.
What do you always hear talked about in spring training? Managers want to say, we're going to be aggressive this year and we're going to run and we would love to hit with power, play solid defense and pitch well. Those are all things the Astros are doing well right now.
The manager very, very pleased with their attention to fundamentals and their execution. And they are 8th in the league in runs scored. They've scored 100 in 21 games. So their average runs per game has come way, way up since they last played a home game.
That was rugged offensively that first week and a half of the season. The road trip kind of opened up everybody's offensive side of the game.
That was pretty amazing. Bueno looks at it, and it's 3-1 to Luis.
And the amazement may have gone beyond the obvious. They went into Seattle and Oakland to begin with, and then San Diego, a great pitcher's ballpark in each case. And that's where all this offense took place.
Altuve takes off. There's the Nino's throw. The strike was called. He stole it. 9th steal of the year for Altuve. And it's a 3-2 count now on Balbuena.
These guys, led by Altuve, Springer, Marisnick, are just leaving catchers with virtually no chance. Look at this. Altuve was standing on the bag when that stretch began.
He got a walking lead, a jumping lead, a running lead. That is ball 4. Balbuena takes his 6th walk of the year. First and second, nobody out for George Springer.
Yeah, it was all of the above.
He has an art of being able to steal a base, and he displayed it. Now Balbuena is aboard, and Springer has a chance to do some damage here, his first time up. With 3 homers for George, 11 runs batted in. These fans hoping to see a Houston response to the 2-run Seattle first. Time called at first base now.
You know, and in talking about that balance of power and speed, it's completely balanced at the moment. 29 home runs, 29 stolen bases for the club.
That's a nice balance. 21 games. Springer looks at it. It's strike one for Paxton. Paxton, 26 years old, from Canada. First made it to the big leagues in 2013. This is his 5th start of the season. He pounds and misses inside. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for the left-hander. And with that 6.86 ERA, he has had some rough outings this year. Last time out, he gave up 4 runs, only 1 earned in 4 2/3 innings. And Gaddis on deck. Springer fouls it.
See some of the magic, the art of stealing a bag. And again, we saw the non-lead turned into a walking, jumping, hopping lead, and then stealing the bag really uncontested. Altuve, he's gotten to the point where you feel like he knows when he's got it.
Turn back towards second. The Mariners very well aware of the Astros base stealing capabilities. Houston now 4 for 4 against Seattle in base stealing this season. Springer started the bat. The appeal went to first. Check swing call. Larry Vanover. And it's 2-2 as George stays alive.
Sometimes good fortune is a big part of success. Let's see if this bat goes through. And I would say You'll see that one. That's kind of in that coin flip category. A lot of times you get the ring up on that one.
And now the home plate umpire, Vic Carapazza, is saying something to the Seattle bench, warning them that he is not going to take any more comments from them about balls and strikes from Lloyd McClendon and his crew.
My coin did not land on your side.
Slow roller, Seager in, making the throw accurately to get out number one. Altuve to third, Valbuena to second, one down. Good play by Seager. And now Evan Gattis, after both runners advance, will have a shot at tying this game with a well-placed single. Gattis with 2 homers, 7 runs batted in, has a 174 batting average. Chris Carter's on deck. Gattis hit 259 on the road trip. Fouls that one for strike one. And in the National League Park, with you and Jeff Blum and Julia there watching in San Diego with the Astros sweeping the Padres. Gattis got 1 start in the 3 games in left field. So now back to DH duties for Evan.
So he chose to simply go deep right away in that ball game when he got the start.
Took the suspense out of it. 1-1. George Springer woke up the folks in the Western Metal Supply building by rattling one into the second deck of that brick structure out beyond left field.
He's going to tear down some brick structures over the course of his career.
Bouncer second. Cano over. Altuve scoring. And it's a 2-1 game with Gattis picking up his 8th run batted in. Altuve with run number 13 of this season. Valbuena to third.
Play that infield back, and you're at the plate. You've got just so many options to be able to drive in a run, put it on the ground, back up the middle, or hit the fly ball somewhere. Easy run to knot things at one.
And we've got some new camera angles tonight. Have you noticed?
Yeah, that was a couple we've seen already. Looking nice.
Chris Carter takes the fastball. Ball 1 to Chris. 169, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in for Chris. He hit 290 on the road trip, including a couple of homers. 1-1 to count.
Puzzling what has gone on with that steady, solid contact the second half of last year for Chris Carter to this year.
He rocks this one high to left center field, but that'll hang. Ackley waiting to end it in the Astros first. 1 run coming home on 1 hit and a man left. 2-1 Seattle.
Astros at Ladies Grape Escape at on May 12th at Minute Maid Park. This event features a pregame wine tasting, speaking panel, and a wine stopper giveaway to the first 500 fans. For tickets, visit astros.com/grapeescape or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Guys.
Hey, Julia, what time did you guys get home last night? A little before midnight?
Ooh, yeah. I think it was just before midnight before I got to my place.
Not too bad after the long flight. Nice to have a day game on getaway day from the West Coast.
She still has the glass slippers.
Brad Miller leads it off. 2-1 Seattle. We go to the second inning, and Miller has a homer. He's driven in 7. Here's ball 1 from Scott Feldman. But as always, Julia was here early to do her work before this game, and it was very pleasant to come to this ballpark early today. Just a glorious day outside, lower humidity than we might normally see this time of year. 2-0 to Miller.
We came in last evening to some really nice cool weather.
Well, you got your fill in San Diego, right?
Pretty much perfect. And again, it was even kind of nicer and cooler back here in Houston. That's why it's known as the weather capital of the world.
Okay. You don't suppose Jeff Blum is kicking back and enjoying his 8-1 record for the season, do you?
Oh, he's gloating, but he's got every right to.
That is ball 4, and a strange thing for Feldman. He had walked only 3 in 25 1/3 innings, and really was among the best in terms of control through the first 4 starts of any season by a Houston Astro, but now a 4-pitch walk to open the second. And it's Ackley coming up next. Dustin at 192 has 3 homers, 3 runs batted in. Valbuena in on the grass. Ackley looks at a strike. He's been slumbering. 4 for his last 35.
Had some rough patches last year as well.
This one gets way away from Castro. It hit the dirt and then carried way off to his left and over past the on-deck circle to get Miller to second base on the wild pitch.
Not sure what this ball hit as it came up off the ground. Could have been the wrist of Castro. Yeah, on that outside of the left above the wrist. You're at the mercy of the bounce of the baseball. The breaking ball from the right-hand pitcher is going to hit the ground and kick to the third base side on your body, and you always anticipate that.
Feldman really off with his command early, and it's a 2-1 count. A.J. Hinch has penciled in for tomorrow night Samuel DeDuno as his starter. On the official note sheet of the Houston Astros tonight, it says to be announced against Roenis Elias tomorrow night. There was the possibility that if some early inning struggles by Feldman led to a need for a long reliever, that could change, because that would be Sam DeDuno's role in this game if he's used.
Hard to believe, but we're already getting to that point in the season where you do use pencil a lot in determining who's going to pitch on the next day.
There aren't a whole lot of days off on the immediate schedule.
17 straight right now, I think.
That rolls out, and the catcher Castro will throw to Carter, but the advance to third is made by Miller on out number 1. You know, the very thing that A.J. Hinch talked about with the media before this game is kind of happening in this game. Couple of wild pitches, and those free bases are being allowed for the Mariners to move up, and then in the case of Miller, he moved up on a wild pitch, now took third on a little nubber.
Get a little glimpse of the calm demeanor of A.J. Hinch. Again, I'm going to say I'm so impressed with the guy, and I think he's got an ideal state of mind, the way he handles the ups and the downs with these guys.
Mike Sonnino's the batter, infield back. And that cuts outside for ball 1. Now Feldman on a couple of these first pitches to hitters in this inning just hasn't been able to get it close enough to tempt them to swing. There's a foul ball, and 1 ball, 1 strike. Another magnificent outing yesterday by Dallas Keuchel. 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run in the 7-2 win at San Diego. So the bullpen is in pretty good shape for rest right now. Ground ball, and Valbuena looks the runner back. Oh, late throw. He looked at him too long, and it's safe at first. Miller was up the line a little bit, but then Valbuena lost his mission looking at Miller, and he didn't get Zunino.
It's a good job by Brad Miller to cause the indecision. You've got to make sure you keep coming in and toward first base. But because Miller kept bouncing off the bag, it really made that an indecisive moment for Valbuena.
Zunino is credited with a hit by the official scorer. And now runners at first and third, and 1 out, on a very rocky start for Scott Feldman. Part of it his own doing, and part of it plays not made, and little rollers, and just a very difficult type of turn of events early in a game for some pitchers to handle.
I'm not sure how I would go in terms of trying to score that play.
The hit is a bit of a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, that almost feels like fielder's choice to me.
That could be it. Now Smith is the batter. With 1 out, runners at first and third. That's rolled to Altuve, hurrying, gets it to Marwin Gonzalez, and it's 4, 6, 3 for a double play. 2 double plays in 2 innings for Feldman to keep it at 2-1 Seattle. Full moon tonight, Ash.
I could see that.
Dallas Keuchel enjoying the full moon because he has the night off on the Astros' early success. Just wake up and the idea of being contenders is real to us. Well, they've been playing that way, haven't they?
They have. And again, on all sides of the game. It's really intriguing because Dallas keeps commenting about how he doesn't feel right about his performances. Take a look at the numbers.
Come on, man.
That's right.
Jason Castro leads it off. Oh, it's good that he's not satisfied, though.
You want that kind of attitude.
You need me on that mound.
You gotta have but I don't know how many people here are aware that the Astros are on that wall right now.
Castro rolls one up the middle, and it's by Cano. And Castro's found some tough luck in recent games. This time he gets one by an infielder, and it's a leadoff single.
Yeah, you can hit line drive after line drive, nothing but outs. Frustration mounts, and then you hit the little dribbler, and you get a base hit, and suddenly maybe you start a nice streak, and that's what Jason needs.
That gets it started for Jake Marisnick. Marisnick has been torrid. 7-game hitting streak for Jake. He pushes a bunt. Paxton taking his time, too much time. It's a bunt hit from Marisnick. His hitting streak goes to 8 games. Castro to second, first and second, nobody out.
And they're not gonna get him. I'll tell you what, he can really move too.
Well, that's a good strategy with a left-handed pitcher on the mound, isn't it?
Now, he's going to take advantage of his speed, I think, for a good long while in this career. And this career of Marisnick is starting to brighten with every game you see him play.
The unknown about him was his hitting. Well, he's providing some very, very poignant answers about that here in April.
He's doing that. He's had some pop. He takes advantage of using his head like he did right here.
That was a smart play. And now it's Marwin Gonzalez batting. Infielders really moving around a lot. Cano was moving to his left as that pitch came, and it was ball 1 to Marwin.
If I ask myself who has pleasantly surprised me the most to this point on the season from coming out of spring training, I think I'd have to heavily weigh toward Marisnick.
Yeah, it would be hard to find a better nominee for that spot. It's 2-0, and Marwin Gonzalez, who hit .222 on the road trip, is going to get a lot of playing time now at shortstop. Jed Lowry, unfortunately, to undergo surgery tomorrow here in Houston. Dr. Tom Melhoff is an outstanding surgeon. Swing there makes it 2-1, and Jed will be lost for perhaps 8 weeks to the club. That's an estimate at this point. Torn ligament in his right thumb, and certainly the way he was playing, many people are anticipating that will be a very difficult position for the Astros to fill the way he filled it. They may not have to do it the way he filled it. Other players could pick up some slack.
Offensively and defensively, Brownie. The offense is kind of a bonus, but that steady, outstanding defense at shortstop, a mandate for the club.
We saw Jonathan VR on the bench, 2-2 to Marwin, so it looks as if it'll be a job share. We're not sure what percentage would be Marwin, what percentage would be Jonathan. One thought is to do some platooning. Interesting because they're both switch hitters, but Jonathan usually does more damage as a right-handed batter, and Marwin from the left side. On this occasion, Marwin gets his opportunity to show what he can do. And he takes it to a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Marwin's had only 4 at-bats this season right-handed with 2 hits.
You know, and when you talk about that defensive side of the game at shortstop, Marwin's been so steady defensively that he's going to get the early nod most of the time.
3-2 pitch grounded. There's Miller. And getting it to second. Cano turning to first. That is a slick double play by the Mariners. Castro to third, but 2 outs.
I'm not sure I've found a throw that Cano can't make yet. He's got that little submarine flip that he can make from any position. This doesn't look like a ground ball that's setting up to be a double play. But get it in that guy's hands at second base, and you'll find more double plays that you don't anticipate than maybe with any other second baseman.
He is quick and accurate. Now Robbie Grossman bats. Runner at third, 2 outs. Robbie looks at strike 1, 156, 1 homer, 5 runs batted in for Robbie. He was 1 for 11 on the road trip, drove in a couple of runs. That one's a foul ball right off that railing in front of the Astros dugout. Got there quickly.
With Jed Lowry, he's 31 years of age now, and having that surgery, missing as much time as he could potentially miss this year. Does it come at a time in the career where there might be extra concern?
1-2.
Guess we shall find out.
Yeah, we're about to do that. Zunino, the young catcher, is excellent defensively. Upstairs, and it's 2-2. Both these pitchers still trying to find their groove tonight. They're both laboring in the first couple of frames.
Yeah, Stella has found hers, but the two guys on the hill tonight still looking for it.
That's strike 3, and that helps Paxson. With the Astros stranding another runner at third for the second straight frame. The Mariners lead it after a couple. It's 2-1. Phillies, who knows all things marketing about the Houston Astros, and this is the first of a 7-game homestand. You know everything that's going to come up during the next week, and so you can clue everybody in on what their favorite promotions might be to choose from.
Yes, sir. We'll start with tomorrow night. Return of Big and Bright Friday nights with Friday night fireworks.
Oh. There's another infield hit. Christy, we were hoping you could reverse this trend here.
Usually I bring you guys pretty good luck. We'll have to see if we can turn it around.
Okay, so the Friday night fireworks are big.
Friday night fireworks, if we can get a night like this tomorrow night, that would be ideal.
That's been ordered.
Because this is going to be the first fireworks show that we're able to do this year, because the first one, as you know, got rained out. So hopefully that kind of weather will stay away, because we've got a really fun disco-themed show that we've got prepared for the fans tomorrow.
Well, Ash likes disco.
I love disco, and I thought Christy was the one in charge of the ordering of given night's weather. So,
I call it in. It rarely listens.
I see.
So that'll be fun. Also, of course, before the game, that fireworks obviously post-game. Before the game, though, you can kick off the night with St. Arnold's Happy Hour. That's every Friday night from 4:30 to 6:30, featuring $5.25 12-ounce beers at the St. Arnold's Bar in left field. So that's always a great time. We sort of expanded that footprint a little bit this year. We've got some fun games over there, giant Jenga, cornhole, things of that nature. And we are going to have some live music tomorrow night as well from the Wayward Son. So a local band will spice up the area over there.
What kind of music is that?
I think it's sort of a take on rock.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Brownie's going to be. He won't even sit here. Then he's going to be out there listening.
Well, they used to call Ash and me the Wayward Son once upon a time.
They used to. They stopped.
Yeah, they stopped.
Okay.
I'll have to remember that.
They stopped about 40 years ago. Sorry, Christy.
So between that pregame and disco postgame, you guys are going to get your dance on, it sounds like.
We've got it on right now. You're looking at it.
This is the extent of our dancing.
Perfect. So that takes us through Friday night, and then we're really excited about Saturday's gate giveaway. 10,000 fans will receive the Jose Altuve hit counter bobblehead. I've got one sitting in front of me right here.
There it is, and out for Christy Miller on a caught stealing. Austin Jackson gunned down.
We've turned it around.
Yeah.
I feel it.
2-6, Christy.
May I just say a perfect effort here by Jason Castro. Got a nice pitch to throw on up, brings you right into the catch, and a good quick throw, and that was close.
That Altuve bobblehead is spectacular.
We're excited about it. You know, we took the creative a little further than a normal bobblehead with the counter on the bottom of it. I've got this one set at 225. That's the number we want to surpass this year. But we have it started at 0 for the fans when they pick them up Saturday, so that they can count along with them. So they'll need to sort of catch it up for where he's at right now, and then be able to count with him through the rest of the season.
Nice. We could count every night then.
Exactly. And the silver bat, of course, representing his 2014 AL Silver Slugger Award and batting title. And I do want to tell people, I know there's a huge fight going on Saturday night, but you can do both. Our game starts at 6:10, so you should come here as a warm-up and then catch the fight later on. I don't think that starts till 10, so it is possible. Come out here and get your bobblehead and then head home for the fight.
Yeah. And you're favoring which boxer in that fight, or do you have a favorite?
Oh, you know, I think I'll plead the fifth on that one.
All right.
And then Sunday, before we wrap it up here, Sunday is Dog Day at Minute Maid Park, presented by Heritage Ranch by HEB. It's their custom dog food. It's one of our favorite days of the year where fans are able to bring their best friends out here, their four-legged friends out. Registration starts at 10 a.m. in the left field gate, and we'll open gates at 10:45 for a pooch parade around the warning track. We are sold out of our bullpen seats, but we do have standing room only seats or standing room only tickets still available for the dog zone and home run alley out beyond the Crawford boxes here. And it really is a great time to bring man's best friend out for a ball game.
Well, Ash's best friend might make an appearance. He's been threatening.
I would love to have that happen. The dogs, just the look in the faces, that's the best. You guys are nice, but I'm going to go with the dogs right about now.
There are cute ones. I don't blame you. So that's always a great time. We'll have quite a few folks out for that.
Out to left center field, Marisnik cruising back. Christy, you always have quick innings, don't you?
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Okay. Big weekend coming up. Thanks, Christy Feliz, for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And it's 2-1 Seattle.
Altuve has a 7-game hitting streak of multi-hit games, tied for third on the Astros all-time list. Wow. Jesus Alou did it in 9 straight, as did Billy Hatcher. There are the other guys, Vigio, Berkman, and of course Altuve, where he presently stands. He just does it so, it seems so easy.
Well, it was a little bit easier than normal first time up, with the center fielder and right fielder having communication difficulties. And his fly ball fell between them for a single. Then he stole second and scored a run. And now Paxton throws ball 1.
It was yesterday we mentioned that Altuve last year had 69 multi-hit games, and he's well ahead of that pace right now. It hits over 21 games. He's at least, well, over 20 games. He was 10 hits ahead of last year's pace, I believe. So
Altuve looks at it. This is the first time Paxton has ever faced the Astros. 2 balls and a strike. And the hits go in favor of Seattle. 6-3 so far. That's lashed on the line toward the left field corner. Altuve turning for second, and he has double number 7 of the season. 2 for 2. Another multi-hit game. That is 8 in a row. 1 away from tying the club record.
Okay, so you can almost think with what just took place right there. Nobody can think like Altuve, but this guy can't handle it in. He's just a little guy. So you pitch in and he just drops the barrel to it instantly. He's astounding.
Great way to get an inning started. Altuve with a double. Albuena the batter. Albuena drew a walk in the first after Altuve had singled and stolen a base. Shortstop Miller right behind Altuve, and it's not a bunt try. The appeal went down to Brian Knight at third base. He ruled no swing, and it's ball 1.
341 last year for Altuve to win the batting title, and he's hitting 368 right now.
He's also 9th in total bases. That little roller goes foul, and it's 1-1.
You know what? And that's a really good point, because I really do think there's the impression that he's nothing but a ping singles hitter. He is not.
Leadoff man has reached base for the Astros in all 3 innings. That's a strike call, and it's 1-2. And the same can be said of the Mariners. So this could be a freewheeling contest the way it's going in that trend.
There's a pitcher-friendly call.
Albuena strikes out, and that's number 2 for Paxton. Paxton, a 4th-round pick in the 2010 draft. He was 6-4 with a 3.04 ERA and 13 major league starts last year. He was on the 60-day disabled list. An injury to his side. Now it's George Springer batting. Altuve at second. Springer grounded out to third in the first inning. Cano is trying to keep Altuve closer. There's ball 1. A steal of third could be really important here.
By the way, if you are intrigued at such things, Altuve threw 22 games last year, and tonight's number 22, had 22 hits and was hitting .250. He has 35 hits right now. We just mentioned the batting average, 368. And it has felt at times like he hasn't been overly hot early on here this year. He's getting there.
That's foul back by Springer. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Altuve was 4th in batting average in the American League when the night started. Adam Jones, the leader in the AL, at 400. Beautiful night out there. Bouncer up the middle. Cano will take a glance at third, but throw to first. 2 outs.
That's kind of intriguing. George Springer's going to go in the dugout and tell somebody, probably A.J. Hinch, that there are no hits up the middle. There he goes, right there.
Yeah.
During batting practice, A.J. said hit some balls up the middle, and he said there are no hits up the middle. And so I guarantee you that's what he's talking about right now.
Cano plugged that gap up the middle. And now it's Evan Gattis. And with all the shifting we've seen the last few years, that's one of the big changes in Major League Baseball. There are people stationed up the middle quite often. There is strike 1.
You get the peek at where they're stationed, as Brownie says right here. But Cano, playing near the bag at second, had a notion of firing to third.
Wouldn't be prudent.
No. You get that second out when you know you've got it.
1-1.
That is really intriguing, and you could see the frustration that Springer had. He feels right now that he cannot find a knock up the middle.
Gaddis goes for it. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Paxton. Sasha Iwakuma is on the disabled list right now. He's the number 2 starter behind King Felix Hernandez, who pitched last night and won, beating the Rangers in Arlington. In the dirt, good block by Zunino. It's 2-2. This Seattle club, flying into Arlington or attempting to do so for the previous series, had to turn away and was routed to San Antonio with a very bad storm in the Dallas area. Was on the runway for about an hour and a half in San Antonio and then had a rough landing when it did get to Dallas. Foul back. Chris Carter on deck. This is a big run for the Astros. They have stranded 2 at third base in the first 2 innings. And a 2-out hit here for Gaddis would obviously tie it and perhaps create a swing in this game. But it's Paxton with a strikeout, number 3. And 3 innings, 3 runners stranded at third for Houston. 2-1 Seattle.
Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.com for details. This team feeling really good, really happy to be back in Houston after such a great trip. And one of the things A.J. Hinch liked on that trip was how they would rebound from tough situations. They struck out in the first 6 at-bats yesterday, guys, and somehow managed to forget all that and keep playing well and get out there and show some offense and win that game.
Barehanded by Feldman, and he makes a play on Seager for out number 1. Well, Julia, it's been interesting to watch this team offensively. It really came alive, as you know, and as you saw on the road trip. And with all that late inning scoring, they can't feel that they're out of a game just because they missed some opportunities early, right?
Definitely, and that's one of the things that'll help them down the road, really. I mean, you know, they say, April, this record is great. You know, a lot of media is asking them about the way they've been playing right now, what their numbers are, and he said it's not about that. It's about trying to figure out how to win games down the road, and if we can find confidence in different areas of our game, it'll show in August and September when it really matters.
Trey Hillman, the bench coach, leaning over to talk to A.J. Here's Logan Morrison. check swing foul. So the last 3 games, to speak to Julia's point, 36 strikeouts by the Astros hitters, but 36 hits and 30 runs.
They are numbers that are difficult to quantify sometimes. But again, when you combine the power and speed this team is putting together offensively, you're going to score some runs. You're also going to frustrate some defenses.
1-1 for Scott Feldman.
You know, and another thing that gets said a lot of times in sports is it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Well, there's some truth to that, but starting well is not a bad thing either. And those wins in April mean every bit as much as the wins in September.
Well, there have been many cases of teams going to the playoffs based on winning games early in the season and then playing .500 ball for months after that.
I'm trying to think of a recent World Series winner that actually had a really slow second half. There was one. It's not coming to mind at the moment, but it's about getting into the postseason and then finding it.
Altuve out of the shift. Throws out Morrison, 2 outs. Well, the Astros are 7 games above .500 right now, for example. If they were to play .500 ball for the next 3 months, they would be squarely in the hunt for a playoff berth.
Yes. Dead on the money. Position yourself and then take advantage in the end. And part of that positioning is every one of these early games.
Brad Miller walked on 4 pitches. He led off the second inning. So Feldman, for the first time tonight, getting the leadoff man in an inning here in the 4th. Scott delivers. There is ball 1. Last time the Astros were in first place this late in the season was May 22nd, 2004. Miller with the strike evens the count at 1-1.
Yeah, so even the World Series year 2005, this did not take place.
No, it didn't. That team started 15-30. And this team here in 2015 is trying to win its 15th game tonight.
A lot of people had counted out that 05 team early on. I think the 04 team had the same circumstance where they played poorly the first 2/3 of the season.
Yeah, they didn't catch fire until really late. 3 balls and a strike. Well, the Angels won today 6-5 at Oakland. A game-saving catch with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th by Mike Trout, and they're back to .500 at 11-11. Mariners trying to join them, and they get a 2-out walk to Miller. That's the 2nd walk of the night for Feldman.
And both to Miller, which statistically doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
You have to go back to Roy Oswalt to find an Astro who made his first 4 starts of a season with only 3 walks until Feldman did it. But tonight, not in that same command zone, and trailing 2-1, he faces Dustin Ackley. Ackley grounded out. Little tap in front of the plate earlier. A line shot to left field. Robbie Grossman over to left center, makes the backhanded pickup, gets it back in, and it's 1st and 2nd, 2 outs now on the Ackley single with Zunino to bat. Ball was well hit. That's hit number 7, but many of them have not been well hit tonight.
And again, a pitch away on a left-handed hitter for Seattle, taking advantage of hitting it the other way. Scott just does not have that fastball that he can consistently blow by a hitter.
It's a struggle for him tonight, and yet he's right in this game, trailing 2-1, facing Zunino. He reached on an infield hit to 3rd. Altuve shading up the middle. That's strike 1 to Zunino. Houston Street got his 9th save today for the Angels. Oakland with the loss, and Chavez was the loser, slips to 9-14. Astros on their next trip will play the Angels. Just a series there and then right back home. Pick off at 2nd. Miller dives back in. Altuve had been really trying to keep him close on a couple of previous pitches. The Mariners have played almost nothing but close games. 17 games in a row of theirs have been decided by 3 runs or less.
That has a way of wearing teams down too. Mentally, you're battling tooth and nail late into ball games. Nothing wrong with winning some ball games Laffer style, and occasionally losing one doesn't kill you either.
They're just coming off their first 3-game sweep of the Rangers in Arlington since 0-2. Fouled away. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes to young Mike Zunino. Just talking about the talented young players in the AL West who could be battling each other for many, many years. He could be right there, squarely in that mix. Nino's 24 years old, a first-round pick in 2012. He was the 3rd player drafted that year.
He's got a lot of power in the bat, but that batting average side has given him trouble.
Finds that one foul. Astros will see a 2nd straight lefty from the Mariners tomorrow night in Roenis Elias. And the Astros will be going with Samuel Deduno coming out of the bullpen to make his first start. Saturday night at 6:10, it's Colin McHugh and Taijuan Walker. Sunday at 1:10, Roberto Hernandez and Jay Happ. Happ, the former Astro, 2-1 with a 2.30 ERA.
It was Happ that pitched for the Mariners in the 1 win of the 3 games up in Seattle. Pitched well.
It's ironic, you know, the Mariners are talking about this is their 2nd series with the Astros. They will not have faced Dallas Keuchel by the end of their 2nd series. And the Astros will not have faced Seattle's #1, Felix Hernandez, by the end of the 2nd series. 2-2.
Seems rather improbable, but there are a lot of oddities that come up over the course of the year.
Up the left field line. It's going toward foul territory and is foul. Well, one of those oddities was no fans attending the game in Baltimore yesterday, right?
And really intriguing to watch the video of that game.
Yeah.
Nobody there. They said they could hear the broadcasters, and just a lot of odd things going on.
Can you see the players say, timeout, he got that wrong up there in the booth.
And you know, also they didn't need the replay boards up on the stadium, big boards and everything, because there were no fans to look at it. And I bet the players were disappointed. I want to see what I just did.
Had to be. I can't believe what I just did. The Orioles' next series will be moved to St. Petersburg instead of being played in Baltimore. And they'll wear the home uniforms. And of course, that will not be a part of the Tampa Bay season ticket package, so who knows what the attendance will be there.
Well, they may just continue with that theme of nobody showing up.
All the way. Hello, Montreal.
Yes.
Do you think that would ever happen?
Wow. Wow, that's really intriguing. Quickly, my mind was going Republican convention and all that kind of thing, but I don't know. I can't see that mistake being made again. Some people will be offended by that comment, but it turned out that there just wasn't enough interest.
Out of play, and Feldman finding Zunino tough to finish.
So you get a guy at the plate that's hitting 136, and he's the guy that puts on this kind of a battle to wear you down.
9th pitch coming to Zunino. 61 in the game, and 49 have been strikes.
Can you find Montreal being in the mix again?
I can see it.
Yeah.
Make that 40 pitch a strike. Well, based on the exhibition games they've had there the last couple of years, tremendous turnout. Zunino went fishing, missed a curveball, is thrown out by Castro, and that ends the fourth with no runs, a hit, 2 men stranded, 2-1 Seattle. On Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Big Time Bats, the Craig Biggio Louisville Slugger Hall of Fame bat is now available. Call Big Time Bats at 866-490-BATS or see it at bigtimebats.com. And by Mattress Firm. Save money, sleep happy. 2-1 ball game here at gorgeous Minute Maid Park. The Mariners about hit the Astros 7-4, and they lead in the run column as well by 1 with Chris Carter, Jason Castro, and Jake Marisnick coming up in the Houston 4th against James Paxton. Carter hit a fly ball to left in the first inning. Paxton delivers, and there's strike 1 for the big left-hander. It's 0-2 very quickly.
That's no fun. Carter's hitting 167 and just got painted on the outside edge with 2 fastballs.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Chris. Carter struck out. That's number 4. The Anderson Day in history takes you back to April 30th, 1939. Lou Gehrig played his final game, number 2,130. The Iron Horse's streak and career came to an end. That's consecutive games played, 2,130.
Now, he's one of the guys that I would love to have been able to see play. Because he looks like the modern day big, strong athlete.
Castro ripped that one foul.
Get the head out.
Yeah, big, thick legs, muscled torso. Lou Gehrig, he was a specimen of his day. And just a tremendous RBI man. 1 ball, 1 strike. Murderer's Row. What a tremendous lineup.
I guess you could get worn out pretty quickly facing the Babe and the Iron Horse back to back.
Oh, boy. Those other guys, Tony Lazzari and the others too in that lineup. Such a terrific lineup.
Where'd that moniker come from, the Iron Horse?
I'm not sure, other than the fact that as an Iron Man he didn't bow out of the lineup until that 2,131st game came along.
Had a strong chin to go with it, therefore.
2-2. And then there was Wally Pipp, who stepped aside. He missed a game with a slight problem one day, and that's when the Lou Gehrig streak began. 3 balls, 2 strikes. So now in these times, if a player sits out a game, somebody else has a big day, they mention Wally Pipp to the guy who sat out.
You always get informed. Okay, Wally, where do you want to sit tonight?
That's strikeout number 5 for Paxton. And Jake Marisnick, who pushed a bunt up the first base line, is the batter.
Kind of intriguing that Castro is in on the night with the left-hander working, but I really think the belief is that Jason is the everyday catcher. He's going to catch as many games as can be, and in the process, pick up that confidence against the left-hand pitching. He actually did well against the lefties last year.
Marisnick takes that pitch, and Jake looks at ball 1. The nickname the Iron Horse came from his endurance and strength, according to the internets. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Phil Boudreau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One and 2.
The internets.
Yeah. Well, where do you go to look up something like that?
You go nowhere else anymore.
We don't have those history books anymore.
Most people don't even bother turning to their computers. It's all on your cell phone now.
It's a shot, and it's caught by Cano. That ball smoked by Marisnick, and it's a 1-2-3 4th. 2-1 Seattle through 4.
State rivals the Rangers in a 3-game series beginning this Monday. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS, or you can visit astros.com.
Battle for the Silver Boot comes to Minute Maid Park. The Astros have already played 1 series in Arlington. It's 2-1 here. Seattle leads it, moving to the 5th inning. And Seth Smith is the leadoff man. He led off the game with a single and came around to score. Then he bounced into a double play. Feldman gets strike 1. That's such an important way for Scott to attack the hitters, getting ahead in the count, and that has not been the trend much of the night tonight. I think you probably appreciated the guys who worked with you, Ash, and on a night like this, whether it was Vern Rule or somebody else, did not have the good stuff. Gave up some singles early, a couple of runs, but managed to stick around through 6 innings and keep the club in the game.
You know, that's a good name, Vern Rule, to bring up, a guy that kind of had Scott Feldman-like stuff. Utilized the curveball and slider a good deal to succeed, spotted the fastball. And you have to have those guys succeed on a good club.
Mariners last year won 87 games. They just missed the playoffs. It was a 16-game improvement over the year before, and then they added Nelson Cruz. So their hopes were very high coming into this season. They were picked by many to win the AL West. 3 balls and a strike.
But they, like other clubs, when you get to see them, have their blemishes. And it's not like the Astros have seen a team yet that you say, well, this club's just going to roll right through the competition.
So do you think, and you and Blummer and Julia have been talking with the guys for the last 10 days on this road trip, that there is a sense in the Houston clubhouse, why not us?
I do. And who was speaking today? It might have been somebody that Julia had spoken with, was talking about, we feel that we can win this thing this year. That guy right there might be the key reason, although a guy like George Springer and some of the other talented young guys on this team can make such a difference.
Strikeout number 2.
That is about as talent-laden a player, George Springer, as you'll see around Major League Baseball. Dallas Keuchel apparently was the guy pre-game today that had made the comment, why not us?
Okay.
We believe in ourselves.
Didn't know that, but he has made similar comments. Jackson is the batter. Austin 2 for 2. Dropped down a bunt for a hit last time up. There's ball 1 to him. Well, Keuchel is certainly proving his point with his own performance. The lowest ERA by an Astro for the first 5 starts in the season, 0.73.
He and his brother make a mean cough drop too.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Remember those cough drops years ago, the Smith brothers?
Smith brothers, yeah, Smith brothers cough drops.
Are those still around?
Don't know. 2 balls and a strike. The Astros, when Keuchel and McHugh pitch, are 9-0 this year. Two balls, 2 strikes. Jackson has this top of the order speed, but there's the problem with making contact. He has been strikeout prone. Now 2 strikes. Valbuena has backed up at third. Jackson struck out 144 times last year in 597 at bats. That is close. 3-2.
Yeah, Jackson's not that kind of hitter that you typically would think of that would rack up a lot of strikeouts, but he certainly does that and able to lay off a close fastball here.
Vic Carapazza with the call. Curveball, 1 hopper. Marwin to Carter. 2 down.
Today's pitching performance is powered by Kubota. We look at Keuchel's start from yesterday. That would be Dallas Keuchel. And the left-hander has just been outstanding. He had a great year last year. I thought very deserving of making an all-star berth, but certainly in line right now to be one of the main contenders, not only for the all-star game this year, but for the Cy Young Award if he continues to pitch this way. Can play some defense too. He'll make plays that others have no chance on.
Robinson Cano has an infield hit in 2 trips. 74 pitches tonight for the right-hander Feldman. Phillies' David Buchanan lost to the Cardinals today. Buchanan 0-5 to start the season. Liner over Altuve, and a soft landing in shallow right field puts him on first. He's 2 for 3 tonight.
I remember when they used to say run hard down to first, take a big turn and put pressure on the outfielders, but Robinson Cano is not buying into any of that. But the hitting portion he is just killer at.
Very accomplished. Nelson Cruz, 34 years old, coming off a 40 home run season last year for Baltimore. He led the American League. He's 0 for 2 in this game. The shift is on for him. There's strike one to Cruz, and the ball he blasted last night in Arlington was measured at 483 feet by MLB Statcast. Tape measure shot into the second deck in left field.
About as powerful a hitter as there is in the game these days.
That's why so many people around Seattle were probably giddy when Cruz signed that free agent deal to join the Mariners. It was 4 years, $57 million in December. That gave them a real thumper behind Cano. Back to Feldman. He keeps it close. No runs, a hit, and a man left. 2-1 Seattle in the fifth.
Of the game, and we've got a good little goodie bag for my friends here. This is Cal and John. What school do y'all go to?
South Highlands Elementary in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Shreveport. That's a long bus ride for you guys. Do you know all these kids in the yellow and green shirts behind you?
Yes, ma'am. Most of them are just really annoying kids.
Well, you have on Astros shirts. You don't have to wear the yellow ones because you bought these. Which jerseys did you guys buy?
I'm wearing Altuve, and I'm wearing Dallas Keuchel.
Good choice, guys. Have fun today, okay? Brownie from Shreveport, Louisiana. We have new Astros fans.
Well, down through the years, as you know, Julia, many fans have come from Shreveport. Here's a high chop to third base, and the throw across by Seager, and that gets Marwin Gonzalez 1 out.
By the way, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Just the facts, ma'am.
I wonder if the kids were singing along with Barry White there in between innings.
People always sing along with Barry White. Robbie Grossman, the batter. He struck out looking in the second. Cincinnati won in Atlanta 5-1 today. Bounce to third. Seager. And Paxton is cruising along here. He's retired 8 in a row now after Altuve's leadoff double in the third. AT&T Rewind will show you the day of Jose Altuve. Single, steal, run scored, and then a double.
What, am I supposed to say something right here about an unusual day?
How about that steal?
Yeah, it's just kind of ho-humish for Jose Altuve, and he can rake it either direction. I tell you what, I'm glad to be one of the people that gets to be at all of Jose Altuve's games and watch what he does.
Here's ball one. 2 for 2 tonight, hitting .368. That's what Jeff Bagwell hit in 1994 when he was the MVP. 1-1. So you're just proud to be an Altuvian at this point?
There's got to be a song lyric we can throw together and make that happen with him.
Have you seen the movie about him yet?
No, I haven't, but from all accounts, it's pretty stirring. Pretty impressive story.
Yeah, the part with his family. In the dirt, 2-2. Well, you'll have to get some time off so you can watch that documentary.
I'll start begging. Have you seen it?
Yes. Sunday night, it was on the MLB network.
Netflix.
Bouncer to Miller. Miller unloads. Gets Altuve. And that's 9 in a row set down now. It's an 8-pitch 5th inning, and it's 2-1 Seattle.
Days of the week with all the giveaways, your favorite rivalries maybe, or a little of each. The Astros 14-game flex plan puts you in charge. You get to pick the games and the seat locations that work best for you. Purchase your 14-game flex plan today by visiting Astros.com/tickets or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Don't be like those guys.
No. Space race tonight. It's 2-1. The Astros are trailing as the 6th inning rolls around. Kyle Seager, the batter. Seager 1 for 2, an RBI single. Scott Feldman gets strike one call. And Feldman, who gave up 4 hits in the first inning and 2 runs, then gave up single hits in each of the next 4 frames. A total of 8 hits allowed by Scott. But they've all been singles.
Well, even that first inning was really just a composition of weak base hits and taking advantage of guys out of position, and an unusual inning. Unfortunate for Scott.
Two balls and a strike. Well, certainly he and Dallas Keuchel and the other starters are charged with staying in games after some early problems, and he's doing that quite well. His longest outing in terms of innings, 6 2/3 this year. He's done that a couple of times, including last time out.
I think it's of extra importance tonight with tomorrow night being.
Oh, Carter blocks it. Here's Feldman going to cover, and a nice recovery by Carter. Then underhanded it on to Feldman for a 3-1 play.
And he was about to say, with tomorrow night being one of those TVA nights where the Astros are yet to really announce who might pitch.
Yeah.
Chris Carter is one of the Smythe Division Goalies of the Year candidates.
Division. He can keep the biscuit out of the basket, Ash. You know, he's a member of a fine organization as well.
Yes, he is that.
Logan Morrison is 0 for 2. Where's Terry Poole when we need him?
Terry's probably listening to your every word.
No. There's ball one to Lomo, as they call him. Reds beat Atlanta. We mentioned 5-1. Be interesting to see what becomes of that Reds team this year. Mike Leake dialed up a beauty tonight. 8 innings, 2 hits, no runs. Johnny Cueto is headed for free agency, it appears.
By the way, did you happen to see yesterday the great shot of Terry Poole we had making the terrific catch in right center field on, I believe it was Nolan's no-hitter?
No, I didn't see that, but I've seen it before. That was a very good play.
Kind of flashback stuff was going on, and of course Terry had to be a part of it.
Yeah. Were you involved in the flashback yourself?
They mandated that cameras stay off of me for all flashback possibilities.
How about your interview with Bryant Gumbel?
Oh. Talk about one of those days. A home run to walk off against the Dodgers, my childhood team, and then interviewed by Bryant Gumbel. He was a sports guy at the time. He hadn't even gone on to NBC's morning show.
Line shot, Grossman moving over, and he snags that one. 2 outs. And it might have been a little troublesome for Robbie trying to pick it out of those lights.
I was just really grooming for my first interview with you at that time.
Oh, that Gumbel, big name. That was in '81, correct, Ash?
Yes, it was.
Win
that was the
Dodgers.
strike-shortened season that required the mini playoff.
That must have felt like a weird year for you guys.
It was odd. I recall working out with a number of the guys at a nearby high school during the heat of the summer.
Miller, who's walked twice, looks at ball 1. How long were those workouts?
As long as we chose, which basically we would take some batting practice, throw to each other, keep our arms in shape, and try to do everything we could to be ready. And I think for the Astros, it worked out well because we came back and played well following the strike period of time.
And that was a lengthy period of time that year. The season was divided into 2 portions. 1 and 2. The Astros won 1 half of the season, the Dodgers the other, and then they met in that series in which you hit the game-winning walk-off homer. Who gave up that home run?
Dave Stewart. At the conclusion of the game, he wanted to know who that guy was that hit the home run. Apparently, I didn't make their scouting report.
Seriously? In the dirt. 2 and 2. Dave now the general manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, how about that? He still doesn't know who I am, but I'm going to introduce myself someday.
You should have the chance this year. Astros are playing Arizona. Foul ball off the looked like the ankle of Miller. Still a 2-ball, 2-strike count to Brad Miller.
Bang. That hurts. It was the shin bone that used to just abuse me to death on both sides of the plate.
Kevin Bass fouled the ball off his shin bone one year and later discovered the bone was broken. Three balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, in today's game, they'd have X-rays taken that night immediately or a little bit later. And I don't know. It really is different, and I guess a whole lot better for the guys.
'25-year-old Brad Miller, a second-round pick in 2011 from Clemson. Lines one to right field. George Springer with the grab. And in the 6th inning, Feldman retires Seattle 1-2-3. Still 2-1. M's.
Sam Taduno appears to be the man on the spot for the Astros tomorrow evening. And Sam is a guy that's filling that tough role, the long man in the bullpen, the occasional starter. Go up against Ronis Elias for the Seattle Mariners. And that always crucial middle game of the series. Well, it's 2 of 4, I guess, in this case.
Yeah, 2 middle games in this series. Strike 1 to Valbuena. 2-1 Seattle. Valbuena has walked and has struck out. That'll be the first start for Taduno this season. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the Astros hoping to get some starting pitchers back, including Brett Oberholzer. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's been out with an injury. He had a blister on his finger, and time had to be allowed for that blister to heal before he could start pitching and building up his innings again. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes, so he may not be too far away at this point. Obi is scheduled to make an injury rehab assignment tonight for Fresno. It'll be his first official game on injury rehab, but he's pitched an extended spring training. He had a 3-inning stint. 3-2 now to Valbuena. Springer and Gaddis to follow, so Valbuena would love to be the table setter here in the 6th inning. Paxton has retired 9 in a row after Altuve's leadoff double in the 3rd. And a leadoff walk gives Valbuena his 2nd appearance at first base. That's the 2nd walk of the night for Paxton. So the Astros trailing by 1 get Springer to the plate. He's grounded out twice.
The Astros have had their struggles a bit against left-hand pitching. And a lot of that falls on the shoulders of this guy right here. You need him to be an impact player against lefties.
Cano is playing up the middle on him again. That's where he hit the ball last time. Tried to push a bunt, and there's strike 1 to Springer.
So you've got Springer, Gaddis, and Carter stacked up back to back to back, 3, 4, 5 in this lineup.
Ground ball, foul. No balls, 2 strikes to George. George was saying tonight before the game he loves stealing bases. He had 5 steals last season, and he's 8 for 9 this year already. Just loves that aspect of the game. He almost made the 40-40 club in the minor leagues in homers and steals. 1-2. That's been an important ingredient in the Astros offense this season, with the 29 stolen bases they have in 34 attempts.
And usually if you're able to steal numbers like the Astros are this year, you're also running well first to third and first to home on occasions. And with all the extra base hits the Astros have been compiling, that first to home's not that unusual.
Excellent point, Ash. The team on base average is .318. That's 8th in the American League. It's certainly not great, although on base averages have been going down the last several years, so it looks better than it did 5-10 years ago. But what the Astros seem to be doing is maximizing with the speed of the base runners they do get. That's looped to right field, and it will go in for a hit. Here's Balbuena going to third. Seth Smith with the throw. It's offline. Throw back to second. Springer is in, and the Astros have second and third. Nobody out as the Mariners throw the ball around.
Brownie, to our point, I would just put a little footnote that says see Springer hit in 6th inning. Balbuena was dead to rights, but the throw not on line from right field. Watch as this comes in. But when you put a lot of heat on the defense, mistakes are made, and that was a mistake. And then Springer on the backside takes 90 feet.
Single for Springer, and as he runs hard, he goes to second on the throw to third. And now that could be an awfully big base. A potential go-ahead run represented by George Springer there, and Evan Gattis the batter. Gattis 0 for 2 with an RBI on a ground out. The infield lays back with nobody out. Carter on deck. Gattis beats it into the ground, and it's a foul, strike one. Nobody warming up in either bullpen right now. Looks like there's some stirring, though, in both pens at the moment.
It's that bewitching hour where you've got to get up and start getting the body loose in case the call comes.
You see some windmilling out there. Gattis started and checked his swing. That makes it 1-1. If Evan can do what he did in the first inning with runners at second and third and one out, grounding up the middle to Cano, he can tie this game. There's a lot of room between Miller and second base. If he can hit it hard to the shortstop's left, he could drive in a couple. High chop. Seager with the runner coming home to tie it at 2. Seager throws out Gattis. Gattis with 2 runs batted in, both on ground outs. Balbuena scoring, and Springer staying at second.
That's a good point. The ball game for the Astros to get even. Now, if as a hitter you can put this on the ground back up the middle, that's when you can push that second runner into third base with 1 out and make a huge difference.
Gattis, by making contact, has driven in a couple tonight. Now it's Carter. Carter is 0 for 2. And a turn back towards second. Morrison is about a third of the way between first and second. He is far off the line. Strike to Carter. Paxton shooting for his first win of the season. He's 9-6 lifetime with a 3.37 ERA in the majors. Fouled, and it's 0-2 with Castro on deck. Paxton has had 1 quality start of the 4. That was his first start, but he lost that one 2-0 to the Angels, giving up 2 runs in 6 innings. One and 2. The Astros are averaging just under 5 runs per game for the season. Paxton has kept them in check pretty well tonight to this point. And there's a strikeout looking. And strikeout number 6 for Paxton. 2 outs now, and it's Castro batting.
If anybody had any answers what's going on with Chris Carter right now, there'd be some solving of the scenario, but Chris apparently just not picking up the baseball well.
Now Castro will try to give the Astros a lift here. He's 1 for 2. Fly ball out to center field for Jackson. To end the 6th inning. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left for the Astros. After 6, it's now tied at 2.
Tonight's league leaders are brought to you by your local Honda dealer. It is Houston Methodist, rather. And Hank Conger is the guy we're getting to know tonight. Favorite players growing up, Ken Griffey Jr. and Chan Ho Park. Pretty good list. Favorite book, the Harry Potter series. So he's a serious reader. Favorite subject in school, math. What else?
And his favorite pitcher, probably Dallas Keuchel right now. Dustin Ackley. Well, they work well together, don't they? Strike 1 to Ackley. He's 1 for 2. Conger and Keuchel collaborating on another beauty yesterday in San Diego.
Don't mess with what works.
1-1 for Feldman. Now we'll get some warm-up action. Lefty Joe Thatcher getting loose for the Astros in their bullpen. So what's so important about what Feldman has done tonight to stay in this game, nearing 100 pitches. Thatcher getting ready with Ackley at a 2-1 count.
Imagine yourself a left-hand hitter facing that sling from Thatcher.
Popped up. Marlon Gonzalez back. 1 out. Sling's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the cleaned up version. He can really make it funky with that sidearm job.
Mike Zunino on an infield hit to third in the 2nd inning, reached and then struck out in the 4th. He's 1 for 2. Blue Jays knocked off the Indians in Cleveland 5-1. TJ House now 0-4 as the Cleveland loser. His ERA climbed to 13.15. Out to center field, Marisnik. 2 outs. Marisnik's range is roughly the size of Brazil right now.
Yeah, it's the old Gary Maddox scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two-thirds of the earth covered by water and the rest by Gary Maddox.
Yeah, Ralph Kiner came out with that line.
Yeah, that's a great line.
It is.
Gary, by the way, was my Pony League teammate and high school mate.
Now, somebody else played with you guys.
Yeah, he was a guy by the name of Joe Levito. You can find that he had a little bit of time in the big leagues with Washington and the Mets, but he was a superior athlete.
Seth Smith looks at ball one. Smith opened the game with a single and came around to score one of the 2 first-inning tallies for the Mariners. He's 1 for 3. Paid attendance tonight is 19,108. Plenty of good tickets are available for the remainder of this series and this homestand. 6 more games to go on the homestand. Now right-hander Pat Neshek has moved over to the bullpen mound. They're far enough apart that they don't get tangled up, the lefty and righty sidewinders.
Are you sure about that?
Well, bouncer to Carter. And he tosses to Feldman. Feldman looking strong right now. He's retired 7 in a row. Not only staying in, but keeping the game tied at 2.
Mariners and the Astros. Jake Marisnick will bat first in the 7-hole today. A little different for him as he's been in that 9-hole ahead of Jose Altuve. That tandem working really well together. But here today, A.J. Hinch said, I've got to change it up. He can really hit anywhere, to be quite honest. But he likes moving him up a little bit. The construction of the lineup is a lot different than it has been recently. Also, he wants to teach these guys to work well in tandems. That's the word he's using, and he wants him to bat faster in the batting order, guys.
Well, it makes some sense. He hit 7th yesterday in a National League ballpark and had a couple of hits. Good day. Now he leads it off here in the 7th inning, 1 for 2. But the point being, you know, we make so much out of this lineup, and yet here he is leading off an inning, and that's an ideal spot for him.
Well, the guys that are swinging it well, you want at the plate as often as can be.
Backhanded Miller, long throw. That's a laser throw to get him. Excellent play.
I don't know that I think of Miller as one of the great defensive shortstops in the game, but that play says he's got plenty of arm to make a play toward the hole, because Marisnick can get down the line.
Very good play by Miller.
Wow. It's about as nice as you'll see it.
Keeps a speedy man off base for Paxton. Now Gonzalez 0 for 2. Both these pitchers deserving credit for staying in this game into the 7th inning now.
Well, I think Feldman got all of his bad fortune out of the way in the first inning.
Ground ball, backhanded. Seager. 2 outs.
Make it look like you've done it before. That's what Seager looked like on this play. Robbie
Grossman bats next. He's 0 for 2. Robbie came up with a theory about why the Astros hit so much better on the road trip.
I want to hear it.
Well, we were talking about the ballparks being pitchers' parks. He likes all that space in the outfield for those balls to drop his hits. Ball one.
Yeah, okay. And then account for all the home runs hit on the road trip.
He didn't speak to that.
You know what? The one that probably impressed me the most, and of course the Springer line drive home run to right center field was really impressive in Oakland. But how about the Jason Castro left center field home run in San Diego?
Oh, yeah. That's a big part of that yard. 1-2. Paxton going toe-to-toe here in a 2-2 game with Feldman. And down and in for a ball to make it 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Astros about to move into the month of May. They have 18 home games in May. An excellent chance for you to get out if you have not attended a game in Minute Maid Park. Let's see a team which is truly surprising to many people around baseball. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You want a number?
Yep.
Jose Altuve on the recent road trip, 9 games. Took an 0 for 4 in game 1 at Seattle and wound up with 17 hits on the trip.
Strike 3 call. Strikeout number 7 for Paxton. That ends the 7th inning with the score Seattle 2, Houston 2. Let's book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Tie ball game. Mariners 2, Astros 2, moving to the 8th inning. 8 hits for Seattle. All of them singles. 5 hits for Houston. 1 extra base hit, a double by Altuve, who has 2 hits tonight. Time to go to the bullpen for A.J. Hinch and bring in veteran right-hander Chad Qualls. In 9 games this year, 0-1 with a 3.52 ERA.
Last pitch 3 days ago. Well rested, and that outing just 2/3 of an inning. So Chad should be ready to go. And he might be a guy that gets called upon to pitch a couple of innings, depending on if this game stays tied.
101 pitches for Feldman. There's ball 1 to Austin Jackson, who's 2 for 3 tonight. Feldman in 7 innings, allowing 8 hits, 2 runs to the Mariners, walking 2 and fanning 2. He also had 2 double play balls in the first 2 innings. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. So Feldman now has 3 consecutive quality starts. And you talked about the fact that Qualls last pitch in San Diego when he got a hold. Working with a couple days rest, he gets a strike there. 1-2. That was in the 9-4 win for the Astros on Monday night, and he threw only 5 pitches and got 2 outs, coming in with a 7-4 lead in the 8th inning. Carson Smith is warming up for the Mariners. He throws right. 2-2. This Astros bullpen has combined. You see Smith working there for a 2.27 ERA. That's 3rd best in the American League. Astros relievers collectively 5-1. The appearances have been spread around nicely. Lefty Tony Sipp is up now. Punched past Altuve into right field. 3rd hit of the night for Austin Jackson. And he might be running. He was thrown out, though, back in the 3rd inning. Castro getting that throw down to Marwin Gonzalez to gun down Jackson. Jason may have another opportunity. Here's Cano, 2 for 3. Sometimes, though, with Cano at the plate, with the ability to pull the ball through the right side of the infield, if the runner does not go, that gives Cano more room to fit the ball through into right field.
Qualls could be a big part of that equation as to whether Jackson's on the move, though.
Yeah, he's not the fastest to home plate among Astro pitchers. There's a foul ball for strike 1. And if he does keep Jackson at first, the way Qualls pitches with his sinker slider combination, he can get a double play ball. So that would be the enticement for Jackson to steal. But having been thrown out once, sometimes that works on a player's mind. He's going. Throw from Castro, and he stole it.
Another excellent throw by Jason Castro. Quick release, but no shot. And really, it did come down to Chad Qualls, I would say. And it's not like he is slow to the plate, but maybe just provided that extra 1/10 of a second needed for Jackson.
Looked like kind of a hesitation by Jackson there.
It kind of gave that appearance that he was glancing back to see about a hit and run.
1-1 to Cano with Cruz on deck. Dangerous part of the Seattle lineup here in the 8th. Washington knocked off the Mets in New York 8-2. Steven Strasburg going to 2-2, beating Jacob deGrom. He's 2-3.
Qualls, by the way, last year allowed 9 bags in 11 tries against him.
Up the middle to Qualls. He checks the runner at second, checks him again, and throws to first. 1 down. Now Nelson Cruz with first base open.
It's a hot shot that potentially could find center field, but Qualls with a nice play.
Left-handed hitter coming up next in Seager. Cruz is 0 for 3. Late swing by Cruz. He didn't pick up that slider, and it's strike 1. A lot of power hitters, though, will look fooled on a pitch and then hit one about 9 miles.
As if they were setting a guy up.
Yeah.
I don't know that that was the case there.
Foul tip makes it 0-2.
Somewhat of a hanger there from Chad Qualls. Might have gotten itself to the outside edge, but up a bit.
Good game tonight. Tight one going to the late innings.
Well, you said Seattle has just continued to play tight ball games one after another.
True. Does that benefit a team? It happened with the 04 Astros, the 05 Astros. They were playing 1-run games down the stretch all the time. Does that help a team to perform better in games like that, having gone through so many?
You know, it's a great question. It would seem logical to me that it would go the other way, that it would wear you down at some point. But maybe you're the more well-equipped team of the two to handle those tough scenarios.
Castro out to talk with his hurler, Qualls. The 0-2 count, giving Qualls some options here on Cruz. Maybe try to break one into the dirt, see if he'll fish for it. Popped up. Carter runs over into foul territory, and it's bobbled by a fan, but no error goes up on that scoreboard. Ash,
I couldn't tell which one of the fans was calling for it, so I'm going to go easy, but make sure you call it and then make the play once you've called off your teammates.
Cruz went for it and struck out. Big strikeout for Qualls. Cruz late departing after the big Carapazza call, and A.J. Hinch is coming out now.
Well, Kyle Seager is one of the guys you really have to concern yourself with in RBI situations for Seattle, so lefty on lefty would make sense here.
And that's the plan. With Joe Thatcher coming in, Qualls going 2/3 of an inning, giving up a hit, leaving a runner at second base. Tony Sipp is coming in to face Seager. Thatcher had been warming up earlier, but now it's going to be this lefty on lefty matchup in just a moment with the score 2-2 in the 8th. Austin Jackson has singled and stolen second. Now Tony Sipp comes in to face Kyle Seager, who's 1 for 3 with an RBI.
Sipp last pitched a couple of days ago in San Diego, and he just continues to be a brilliant performer. That left-handed pitcher coming out of the pen, and a terrific season last year for Tony.
Seager is 1 for 6 against Sipp in his career. Marisnik shading well over toward left center. And then strike one for Tony. Tony got a win in Seattle 10 days ago. The game the Astros won 7-5. He came in a similar situation. The game was tied 5-5. It was the 7th inning with 2 men on base. Got an important out and wound up going an inning and a third without giving up a hit or a run.
Got off to a bit of a slow start for a reliever this year, but has just continued to whittle away at that ERA now under 1.
Runner takes off for third. No throw from Castro on another steal by Jackson.
Seattle playing a bit of that Astros running game right here.
Jackson got his third, now his 4th in this inning. Castro handcuffed by that pitch. It's 2 balls and a strike. Tony Sipp also got a win at Oakland. And that 7-6 dandy the Astros won over the weekend on Sunday. So he went 2-0 in 4 appearances on the road trip with an ERA of 0. That's pull foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Former Major League infielder right there. And he decided, I don't want any part of that thing.
Chris Woodward.
That's what makes me wonder about how fans deal with it when you've got former players saying, I know my limitations. Dirty Harry taught me that a long time ago, so I'm getting out of the way.
Seager rolls 1 foul past Woodward. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. But what a night to be out enjoying a tight ball game in the 8th inning. Nice little breeze coming through the stadium. The wind blowing out toward left field. Royals 8, Tigers nothing. They've played 6 in KC. Seager to Altuve. On to Carter. Good relief work. Keeps the Mariners off the board in the 8th. No runs a hit. Runner stranded at third base. Seattle 2, Houston 2 in the bottom of the 8th. Altuve, Valbuena, and Springer.
AT HOU power player is Luis Valbuena on the first game of the road trip in Seattle, where he hit 2 bombs. And all the Astros need is 1 tonight. And now would be a good time. But Luis Valbuena has shown very good pop. Batting average not where he'd like it yet, but plenty of power in that left-handed bat.
Well, both teams are going to the pen here in the 8th inning. The Astros did it successfully in the top half. Now right-hander Carson Smith comes out of the Mariners bullpen for the bottom half. And Smith will go to work against the top of the order, Altuve, Valbuena, and Springer. Smith in 9 innings, allowing an ERA of 0, a whip of 0.67, covering 10 games this year.
That pitched twice against the Astros in Seattle earlier. 1 inning in each one.
He's 25 years old, from Dallas. That's Altuve, who's 2 for 3, a single to right center, a double to left. Seager even with the base at third. Cano shortened up at second. Strike one for Carson Smith, an 8th round pick in 2011. He is listed at 6'6".
Well, he's been really tough. 3 hits allowed in 9 innings, 11 strikeouts. One of those hits, though, a home run.
Chopped high. Seager cuts over, makes the play, 1 out. Paxton in 7 innings allowed the Astros 5 hits. They scored 2 runs. He walked 2, fanned 7. Both starting pitchers excellent for 7. Now it's a battle of the bullpens with Valbuena coming up. 2 walks and a strikeout for him. 103 pitches for James Paxton tonight. Ball 1 to Valbuena with Springer waiting, and then Gaddis could come to the plate if the Astros get a man on.
I'm sorry, Brownie.
It's okay. What were you going to say?
Aging eyes are a bear. He has not allowed a home run. He has hit a batter, however.
You know, in fact, just looking at this, he has never allowed a home run in his entire Major League career, or for that matter, a run.
That entire Major League career that has consisted of now 17 2/3 innings. That's right. But I want to remind folks, he has hit a batter.
Okay. Bouncer to first. Morrison to Smith. 2 outs. So that's now 18 innings to begin his career without being charged with a run. That's a Mariners record for a pitcher to start his career. And it's Springer to try to break that up. Springer's 1 for 3.
Have you been made aware of how much HB can look like HR?
Yes. Yes, especially when people are in a myopic state.
Nailed.
There's strike 1. Did you ever hear the story about how the pitching rubber came to be placed 60 feet 6 inches from home plate? Why is it 60 feet 6 inches?
Probably is the answer, and there are other states that you don't want to get in either, but I've probably been there too.
Well, why wasn't it 60 feet? Why was it 60 feet 6 inches?
You got me.
According to the story, it was a myopic engineer who read a 6-inch dimension that wasn't really there. Ground ball up the mound. Here's Cano throwing and getting Springer with another excellent play. And after 8, it's Seattle 2, Houston 2. Astros here on this homestand from Minute Maid Park. Kids are enjoying it. It's a beautiful night to be out. We go to the 9th inning, and it'll be Morrison, Miller, and Ackley due up for the Mariners against lefty Tony Sipp, who's pitcher number 3 of the night. Chad Qualls in 2/3 of an inning allowed 1 hit, no runs with no walks. He had a strikeout.
So, Brownie, you say it's 60 feet 6 inches from the home plate side of the rubber to where?
We're looking through the rule book. I think it's the back of home plate. You're right.
So it's that corner where the foul lines meet.
Yeah. Logan Morrison is 0 for 3. Glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, you know what? That really boggles my mind, and it explains my lifetime batting average. I think it's really not 60 feet 6 inches. It's more like 59 feet, and I need to find out exactly what that is to the front of the plate.
You know, a lot of people have been tormented by where that was actually measured from.
I've been tormented by the whole issue.
Strike one to Morrison. Went far off the third base line. Sip delivers a ball, and that makes it a 1-1 count. Tony Sip, 31 years old, from Pascagoula, Mississippi. Brings in a breaking pitch. That makes it 1-2.
Tony changes speeds really well, and he's a strike thrower with good stuff, but he really has a nice assortment.
Lashed into right field. Springer over to pick it up. Morrison making a big turn. He will go back to first base after that strong throw. Leadoff single for Morrison.
You know what? I appreciate that base running by Morrison. He hit this ball very sharply. It would have been extremely easy to just jog it down the line and take your single. But he pressed the issue and forced George Springer to play this all the way toward the bag as if it was a shot at a double. Look at this play, and George sees it and reacts just perfectly. But that's the way you should run the bases at all times.
Brad Miller may be bunting here. Balbuena moving in. Miller line to right field after walking twice. Pat Neshek warming up for Houston. Ackley on deck, another left-hand hitter. And that's bunted foul. Strike on Miller. Understandable why, with this lefty-on-lefty matchup, Lloyd McClendon would want the hitter to bunt. Dominic Leone warming up for Seattle. But can he execute the bunt? That becomes a question. One sacrifice bunt for Miller this season. Down at the bottom of the lineup here for the Mariners. The Astros will have Gaddis, Carter, and Castro due up in the last of the ninth. In tight, 1-1. Mariners have out-hit the Astros 10-5. No errors in this game. 6 men left for Seattle. 4 stranded for Houston. Miller squares around early and bunts it. Sip is on it. Glances at second, throws to Altuve at first. Sacrifice 1-4. Morrison into second.
That would have been a really tempting play as a catcher to Haller second, but you've got to count on a pitcher reacting instantly if you're going to get that throw in that direction. It's the toughest aspect of the call of second base for a catcher is, will you get a pitcher that does not hesitate? Because nothing's worse than calling second and winding up with a safe call down there because there was any kind of delay in that attempt to throw that way.
Justin Ackley's 1 for 3. That one almost, well, hit the umpire, and here's the advance to third base by Morrison. Castro did not catch it. It hit the home plate umpire, Vic Carapaza, and Morrison took third base.
Well, that's costly. Another one of those pitches, a fastball that is not where Castro wanted it, but very catchable at the same time.
Pass ball. Now Brent Strom, the pitching coach, is on his way to the mound. 1 out, runner at third. That really changes the complexion of this inning now.
Well, that does, and it forces the gears to spin harder than they otherwise would have. I think here in the 9th inning, you've got to be able to bring the infield in. And then you have to concern yourself with the possibility of a squeeze. So you can't just go to pitching, although Dustin Ackley is a guy who has power in the bat, and I'm not sure he's your ideal bunt candidate here.
Infield in tight. Strike, evens the count at 1-1. Ackley looking at signs there from third base. There could be a pitch out if the squeeze happened to be on. That could be a problem for the Mariners, certainly. Now 1-2.
Yeah, the squeeze is gone now with a couple of strikes. But I wondered there as Ackley stepped back with his right foot if that might have been at the time a response. The "I've got the sign" response. The squeeze usually for most teams requires that.
He doesn't give the response and the squeeze is off. You don't want to send that runner with the batter not having acknowledged that he got the sign. Foul ball.
And it's tough coming up with a response that isn't readily noticed by everybody on the defensive side of the game.
So what would be the way you would do it sometimes on the teams you were on as far as acknowledging the sign?
I have seen taking your hand and pulling down your helmet. They call it screwing on the helmet. But to me, that was a really obvious one. I like the kind of step back with a foot just in a direction away from, or just something that was subtle, like it would take place at any given at bat during the course of the game.
Swing and a miss, and Sip gets a big strikeout for out number 2.
They don't come much bigger. You consider 9th inning and the whole scenario there, and now you've got Mike Zunino, who's had a real battle on the season with the batting average.
And A.J. Hinch has had Neshek warming up. He'll swing back to the right side of his bullpen with a runner at third and 2 outs. Sip with the strikeout of Ackley leaves, and we also depart with the score. Seattle 2, Houston 2 in the 9th. Mike Zunino will be the batter. Pat Neshek has come out of the Houston bullpen. He inherits a runner at third with 2 outs here in the 9th inning of a 2-2 game.
Drop down slinging right-hander to go against a right-handed hitter that's been struggling. And the Mariners keep Zunino at the plate. 10th game of the year for Neshek.
Strike to Zunino. Got an infield hit in the second. He's 1 for 3.
The pitch was not where Neshek or Castro wanted it, but effective nonetheless up and in.
And 0-2 to Zunino. Neshek got a win Monday in San Diego, going 2/3 of an inning. He came in with 2 men on base and put out that fire. Runners were at second and third and 1 out. He got out of that jam with the score tied 4-4 in the 7th. Fly ball, and Altuve on the infield without number 3. We go to the last of the 9th inning. Seattle 2, Houston 2. Right-hander Dominic Leone in the game for Seattle. Carson Smith in 1 inning allowed no hits, no runs. Last walk-off homer for the Astros came last year from Jason Castro against Detroit, June 27th, and he will be due up third here in the bottom of the 9th. Chris Carter had one June 12th. The Astros have won 3 times this season in their final at bat. They won in the 14th inning in Texas. They won in the 11th at Oakland, and they won a game on a 2-run double in the top of the 9th by Evan Gattis in Oakland. Gattis will be leading it off here.
Well, Brownie, I like your style. Talking about the long balls in the 9th inning and the guys that have done it. They're coming up here in the inning, so let's have some fun with this.
Dominic Leone doesn't want any fun at his expense. He's 0-1 with a 3.86 ERA.
You got to bend to the masses.
Infield overshifted, playing Gattis to pull. He's 0 for 3, but has driven in a couple. He gets the off-speed pitch for strike 1. Leone is from Norwich, Connecticut. Went to Clemson, where he was a teammate of shortstop Brad Miller. 23 years old. Last year 8-2 for Seattle with a 2.17 ERA. 0-2.
And it's amazing how tough bullpens have become. You're talking about the year last year, 66 in the 3rd innings, just 4 home runs allowed by this right-hander.
One ball, 2 strikes. Tony Sipp went 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, no runs. Strikeout. Gaddis rolls over on it, ground ball. Seager throwing on the run, accurate throw. 1 out.
See a lot of guys barehand or make a barehanded attempt on this ball. In my assessment, if you use the glove correctly, you can get rid of the ball just as quickly, and I thought Seager made this play about as well as you can do it.
He made a few of those last year on his way to a Gold Glove. Carter is 0 for 3. Castro on deck. That is strike one. The Astros 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position in this game. They've scored both of their runs on Gaddis groundouts in the first and the sixth.
Well, that's not the offense we were talking about in the pregame today.
No, that's not the club that was on the road.
But that's the thing. This crazy game of baseball, you have to find ways to win in all sorts of ways.
Foul back, 1 and 2. Too early to make much of it, certainly, but coming into this game, the Astros at home were hitting 174, on the road 278.
And there's got to be a why to that, right?
Not yet, not an apparent why.
I wanted you to say absolutely not. Guys down in the dugout are trying to figure that out too.
Strikeout, 2 outs. Punch out number 8 for Mariner pitching. And it's Castro batting. He's 1 for 3. Marisnik on deck. Leon can stretch it out, go more than 1 inning, and that might be required because this game may be headed on past the 9th. Strike to Castro.
Or Jason Castro can go rerun on what we were viewing from last year.
Wouldn't that be a sweet way to extend a winning streak?
You have to pay residuals, but who cares?
Out away, and it's 0-2. The Astros' current 6-game win streak, the longest active in the majors right now. This the final game in April. They were 14-6 in April of '86. 14-7 this April. One and 2 to Castro. Astros worked hard over the winter to remodel his swing a little bit. He's been hitting the ball hard from spring training at times to left center field, which he did on the road trip. Pulls that one foul. Jason with 14 long balls a year ago. He hit 18 in 2013 when he was an all-star. Inside to Castro, and now it's 2-2. Full count.
See if you can get yourself the 3-2 fastball and put some barrel all over it.
Rolled out to Cano at second. And extra innings will follow. After 9, it's Seattle 2 and Houston 2. All season long, Jack Link's beef jerky, feed your wild side. It's a 2-2 game. Seattle with 10 hits, Houston with 5. Mariners 10 and 11. Got 7 innings of 5-hit, 2-run baseball from James Paxton. Austin Jackson with a 3-hit game. The Astros 14 and 7. Scott Feldman matched Paxton with 7 innings, 2 earned runs allowed. Jose Altuve with his 8th straight multi-hit game, going 2 for 4. And there's been only 1 extra base hit in this game. Altuve's double in the 3rd. We move to the 10th now, and the Astros have chosen to bring closer Luke Gregerson in at this point to face the top of the order.
That's that turnaround moment for the bullpen for the Astros. A prolific bullpen here early in the season. Yeah, if you're going to pick up a win tonight, your 15th of the year, the bullpen must remain strong. Pitched yesterday at San Diego an inning. It was a pleasant, rather joyful ride for the Astros back from San Diego after a couple of sweeps back-to-back.
Luke will face Seth Smith, who's 1 for 4. Shift is on. Gregerson deals, and there's strike 1 for Luke. Pat Neshek retired the only man he faced, Zunino, to strand a runner at 3rd. Gregerson had a win in Oakland and a couple of saves on the road trip. It's 0-2, and Luke usually makes pretty quick work of the opponents, which was the case yesterday with the 12-pitch outing.
Heard a lot of great stuff about this guy and his makeup and what a tough competitor he is. Ooh, close.
1-2.
Bring that 0-2 pitch. You don't want it all in the strike zone. You want it just making a guy take a little bit of a half swing at it.
Smith fouls it for the Astros in the bottom of the 10th. It'll be Marisnik, Gonzalez, and Grossman due to bat. Austin Jackson on deck here, and then Robinson Cano's due up 3rd. In Gregerson's career, he has a 0.48 ERA in 18 2/3 innings, allowing 1 run. And he has struck out 20. The Astros are 3-1 in 1-run games this season, 2-0 in extra innings. Mariners are 2-2 in extra frames. They are 5-2 in 1-run games. Fouled, and that keeps it at a 1-ball 2-strike count for Seth Smith. Now for the Mariners, a chance to come to the state of Texas and play a total of 7 games, and this is what the schedule makers were looking forward to when they realigned Major League Baseball, moving the Astros from the National League Central to the American League West. Foul ball over the dugout. And Seattle puts on more travel miles than any other major league team, and so it's a nice opportunity for the Mariners to avoid that much travel on a trip like this. That's ripped through the shift into right center field for a leadoff single for Smith. He's 2 for 5 tonight. He's aboard for Jackson. Jackson with a 3 for 4 night. And then Cano's on deck. Pinch runner going in at first base. Justin Ruggiano is the pinch runner.
We'll see how Seattle plays this now with a pinch runner. And Austin Jackson, 3 hits on the night at the plate. Is it time for a hit and run?
Round to bunt. That's a strike.
Luis Valbuena red bunt all the way and was right in Jackson's face. And that's part of what makes it so tough when you're trying to lay down a bunt. Pitch is coming at you and you're trying to figure out where I can lay this and have it be successful.
With the bunt in the air. Carter laying out for it. He got it. Throw back to Altuve. No double play. Sparkling effort by Carter. We're out number 1.
This ball almost came out of the glove of Chris Carter. Watch when he dives. It's not exactly what you call a snow cone, but sitting there on the palm trying to find its way out of the glove, but alertly throwing back to another alert player in Jose Altuve.
Luciano got back, and now Cano will bat. Cano 2 for 4 tonight. Carter got in with a dive, took that one away from Jackson. Nelson Cruz is on deck. Bouncer back to Gregerson. Gonzalez. Carter, double play. 1-6-3 to send this game to the bottom of the 10th inning, tied at 2. Mariners 2, Astros 2. Orbit making the lap with the flag, getting the fans up for the bottom of the 10th inning. And they'll try to win it here as Dominic Leone, who had a 1-2-3 night, stays in to face Marisnik, Gonzalez, and Grossman. Marisnik bunted his way on in the second against the starting pitcher, James Paxton. He's 1 for 3. Hit the ball hard, lining out the second in the 4th. And then in the 7th, shortstop Brad Miller made an excellent play to get him. So Marisnik has had a night with good contact at the plate. He takes strike 1.
Probably guessed some fastball on that first pitch. Got a hanger.
Miller. 1 out. The Astros have not had a base runner since the 6th inning when Springer singled to right field.
That's been anything but a big night offensively for the Astros, and yet tied in the game with a chance to win.
13 straight Astros have been retired by Paxton, Smith, and Leone. Marwin Gonzalez would try to interrupt that string. He is 0 for 3. He's hit the ball on the ground all 3 times. 17 ground outs for the Astros tonight. They have struck out 8 times. That one is a fair ball, Up the right field line, it kicks out toward Ruggiano. Here's Gonzalez. Here's Ruggiano's throw to second, right on the money, and he is going to be safe. Close play at second base. Excellent throw for Ruggiano.
Well, if you're Marwin hitting this ball down the line, you have to feel like you get the double. You can't just stay with a single on that ball. And yet Ruggiano made this very close. Marwin's got such a quick bat. And he shoots it just over the bag down that first base line. And now it's go time. But this, with that barehanded pickup by Ruggiano, becomes closer than you certainly would like it. Marwin knows he's going to have to get there quickly.
Now Colby Rasmus is pinch hitting for Robbie Grossman. Grossman 0 for 3 tonight. Gonzalez has the Astros' second extra base hit and second in the game. Rasmus in the dirt, and Zunino makes a nice pickup. There's ball one. Rasmus has 4 homers, 9 runs batted in, a .254 batting average. He's had 63 at bats. None as a pinch hitter this season. Altuve's on deck. Nobody warming up for Seattle. Rasmus takes that one. 2-0 for Colby. In the dirt again, and it's 3 balls, no strikes. Rasmus hit a big home run yesterday in the 7-2 win at San Diego. It came in the 4th inning. It was a 2-run shot, and it broke a 1-1 tie.
That's some big swings. Do you give that guy that's been putting up big swings the green light on the 3-0? I would imagine he's got the green light. Whether he takes advantage, we'll see.
It's a strike. 3-1 to Colby Rasmus.
Because this is not about base runners now. This is about pushing somebody across on one big swing.
Ball 4, and Rasmus takes a walk. 2 men on, 1 out for Altuve.
In essence, base runners now sets up the possibility for the double play. Now Altuve, very tough to double up, and the guy the Astros absolutely want at the plate.
Altuve has grounded into 1 double play this season. He's had 97 at bats. Jose 2 for 4, a single and a double tonight. Valbuenas on deck. It has been a magical ride for Jose Altuve. A batting title last year, 225 hits. Oh, ball 1.
That's pretty close to being a wild pitch, and had it been a wild pitch, I believe Altuve would have been walked intentionally, and I think the Astros are actually in a better spot having Jose swing the bat here.
Lloyd McClendon is walking out. There is some action in the bullpen for Seattle. Altuve last year drove in 59 runs. He has 15 already this season. Had a fabulous road trip, driving in 11 runs in 9 games.
So let's assume, Brownie, we get to a point here where Valbuena comes to the plate, left-hand hitter. Does Lloyd McClendon go to the bullpen for a left-hand pitcher? And if he does A.J. Hinch react by sending somebody to the plate as a pinch hitter? He's got VR, Conger, and L.J. Hose who can swing from the right side.
And lefty Charlie Furbush in the bullpen for Lloyd McClendon. Altuve came into this game hitting .412 with runners in scoring position, 7 for 17. It's rocked to left field. Jose Altuve continues the magic. He wins this game with a double off the wall in left field. 3-2, and the Astros have won 7 in a row. They bring the magic home to Minute Maid Park, and Altuve bangs one off the wall to take it. Third hit of the night for Altuve. What an amazing job by the second baseman. And the Astros battled. They had not scored since the 6th inning. 13 straight had been retired until one out here in the 10th. It's officially ruled a single for Altuve. He did not stop at second. He could have to get it to a double, but who cares? He's just won another ball game for the Houston Astros.
You know, it's a team game, but sometimes it doesn't hurt having great individual players. And Altuve is certainly that, and the what a play from Whataburger. Of course, it's Jose Altuve as he just rams it off the wall. And the easy game winner, Marlin, with that double to get this thing going.
That was so big, and then Altuve watches this one fly into a very good place for him. That's his 16th run batted in. And Altuve, who began the night hitting .355, going 3 for 5 in this one. Of all the people the Mariners would not want to face with the game on the line, he beat them.
I'm telling you, that previous pitch that came so close to being a wild pitch would have changed everything in this ball game.
Let's go down on the field to Julia Morales.
Thanks, Brownie. Jose, you guys have won in so many different ways. We're not done yet, Tuve. Come back. You guys have won in so many. Well, first of all, how does that feel?
I mean, really good. I mean, it was a really good game. Pitcher did tremendous job. We tried to score late in the game. Marwin hit the double. Kobe took really nice at bat, and we finished it out and we win the game.
You guys have continued to come back from behind, win late in games. What is it about this team?
We got the team to Hey, we got the thing to do, Like I said, we're going to play defense. We're going to pitch until we score a couple runs. It's not going to be easy to beat us here at home, and we're going to do everything that's possible to win the game.
Congrats, Altuve.
Thank you.
Ronnie, back up to you.
What a night as the Astros come back from a fabulous 8-1 road trip and then nail another win onto it to finish the month of April 15-7 with 7 straight wins.
Thank you.
Final score 3-2. Houston taking it in 10, and we'll be right back with more.